I had to come back and put a trigger warning on this story. This is a challenging one. You see, it says he restrained her. There are themes of abuse in this one, so just be aware. I was sent this post from the marriage subreddit. She says, husband restrained me during argument. I called the police. Now I feel heartbroken and guilty. Before I do this post, I want to show you a post from her from a month ago. Okay, so she says, I'm 27, married to a 29-year-old man. We've been together since I was 19. We have 2 kids. I've been a stay at home mom since becoming a parent, and I feel like I've completely lost myself. My husband isn't physically abusive, but he's emotionally draining, possessive, insecure, and controlling in subtle ways. Anytime I try to spend time with my family, spending time with friends, going out in general, or take steps towards independence, like going for my career, it becomes emotional tension. I feel watched, questioned, and sometimes even guilt tripped. He recently asked if my ex was at the church when I went to see my mom and brother. It's all these little things driving me insane. I used to argue, cry, and try to explain myself constantly. Now I've gone quiet. I feel like I've hit emotional burnout. I'm afraid to even voice my feelings because I know how he might react. But deep down, I know I'm not okay and something has to change. The idea of separating feels terrifying. I don't have money or my own job yet, but I'm starting to wonder if staying is doing more harm than good to me and eventually to the kids too. But I feel like I've begun planning my exit. If you've left a situation like this, how did you know it was time and how did you start over? This is a cautionary tale. This is the reason why I keep stressing that women need to get their education, need to get some career experience. They need to stop giving their 20s to these men. This is the reason why men want women so young so that they can stop them from growth as far as financial independence and having a career, because she is a stay-at-home mom without an education, without anything going on as far as her career goes, and so she wants to leave. She's not independent though. She doesn't have any money and she doesn't see a way out, so she's gone quiet. She's become a shell of herself. She is just a wife appliance. And she's so young. She's been with this one person and he's already draining the life from her. Now, come fast forward, she says, husband restrained me during an argument and I called the police. Now I feel heartbroken and guilty. Remember earlier, she said that he wasn't abusive, just emotionally draining, but now it has escalated and it probably will continue to escalate. She says, I'm still processing what happened yesterday and I don't know how to feel. I had a spa weekend planned with a friend. Before I left, my husband asked what time I'd be home the next day. I said, "Please, all this asking about time. I'll be back when I back. I'm sorry, I'll be back when I'm back." We left it at that. The next morning after checking out, I thought since I was already about 2.5 hours from home, I'd visit a close friend who just had a baby, about an hour and a half from where I was. While I was in that area, I also went to see another friend about an hour away. I texted my husband both updates as they happened. He didn't reply to my message or answer my calls all day. When I got home, he was furious. He said this is the same thing every year, that I'm acting single, disrespecting the marriage, and traveling all over the place. He told me I can see my friends, but it has to be planned and structured, and that all other social events that I planned this month are canceled. During the argument, I tried to leave the room, but he blocked the door. I was holding my phone and he told me to put it down. When I didn't, he forcibly grabbed it from me and threw it whilst he pinned me to the bed with his weight so I couldn't move. He didn't hit me, but I was kicking and screaming for him to get off. I told him I was calling the police, and I did. He called my mom while this was happening. To my shock, she sided with him, saying I need to stop what I'm doing. I reminded her that in the past, when he restrained me, she blamed me for not telling her. Now I was telling her, and she still wasn't on my side. The police came, interviewed us separately. I denied wanting to press charges or call it domestic abuse, so they left. Now it's the next day, and I feel completely numb. My husband says he's heartbroken because calling the police could have ruined everything for him. His parents went to prison when he was a kid, and he and his siblings ended up in foster care. I know what that feels like because my dad went to prison too. The thought of him being taken away in handcuffs really breaks me. He apologized for restraining me, says he'd never hit me, and says he just wants a good home and family, but that there needs to be structure in my plans. I apologize for calling the police, but I'm left scared, confused, and I'm not sure if I'm wrong here. This was this was only my second time out with friends this year. The part right here, this hit me hard for her. She doesn't even have her mother's support. She's already so far from her friends, so she doesn't really have her friends' support. She backed out of telling the police that it was abuse, probably because she's thinking in her brain, I don't have any money, I don't work. So all of these things are probably going through her mind at one time. She does not have a game plan. She needs to get away. She's already said earlier that she was just quiet, and she tried to get some peace. She wanted to go hang out with her friends, and it blew up on this. He punished her for having some time out away from the family because she is a stay-at-home mom, and he punished her for it. Now she's going to be thinking twice about doing anything. He said that all other social plans are canceled for this month. He's putting her on timeout. He's punishing her for being out with her friends. She didn't do anything wrong. She was keeping him up to date where she was. She took a day and a half to herself, and then she got punished for it, and now she's apologizing. Her brain is so confused that she's apologized to him for calling the police when he got violent with her. This is how abuse works. He's got her so confused that she's apologizing, and her mother is siding with her abuser. Who do you lean on when your mother sides with your abuser? This is the reason why I talk about these things and want women to talk to their daughters about getting an education, because you do not want to be stuck in these situations. I do know that women will come out of the workforce when, they have kids, but you've got to set yourself up to be able to leave if you have to. You have to be able to pivot. And when you give your 20s to a man versus going to get your education, you set yourself up like this to where you really have to be quiet and be small as you're trying to execute a plan. But if you don't have any money, you don't have anybody behind you, where are you going to get that money to create a plan? This is just hard, and this is the reason why I will do this every single day. I will have these conversations every single day so that we can keep spreading this message far and wide. Ill Ad says this is physical and emotional abuse. Read Why Does He Do That by Bancroft. You feel guilty as a result of his manipulation, not because you did anything wrong. And then Amy says, right, the people victim blaming here is nutso. I didn't see the victim blaming, but I'm sure that it's there. Actually, a cat meow says, I'm actually aghast that someone would look at this situation and say, well, you antagonized him, so what did you expect? And then Amy says, yep, some of the replies legit made me question humanity more than I usually do. And Anne at the bottom says, so he tried to ground you like a child. Dr. Hughes says, this is a very angry and controlling person. You also mentioned that he's restrained you in the past. This means you have a pattern of this kind of behavior. You have a pattern, okay? He was throwing your stuff and pinning you down. If you haven't, you need to read Why Does He Do That? He also says you should also check out the www.thehotline.org, which is the U.S. National DV Hotline. She might be in the UK though. You can read pages on there about how to identify abuse because you are in an abusive relationship. You can talk to someone on web chat or over the phone or using text messages. This is not a healthy relationship that you're in. He is trying to guilt you and make you feel responsible for his happiness. This is not what a marriage is about. You need to get out of this situation for your own safety. Unimpressed is honing in on he's heartbroken because calling the police could have ruined everything for him, saying, no, he could have ruined everything for himself by being abusive and controlling. I'm sorry for being blunt, but your husband physically abused you and is now blaming you for his actions. This will 100% happen again, and you may not survive the next time. And like I said, just a month ago, he was just being emotionally draining. Now he's escalated to restraining her and throwing stuff. This is not going to end well. This is abusive, and people need to know what abuse looks like. Join the conversation. Please share this, like, comment, and share.